Here at Northwestern State head coach Blaine McCorkle as the Demons hit a bye week in Week 10. And, Coach, probably didn't get here a moment too soon, did it?
No, it comes at a good time. It's been a interesting 10 games so far. We've done a lot of growing, a lot of learning, had a lot of bumps in the road, got a lot of guys beat up. So this week gives us a chance to kind of take a step back, reevaluate, look at some personnel, get our staff on the road recruiting. Our guys are already on the road right now, spending most of the week out going to some high schools and junior colleges and things like that, and develop some of our younger players. And we'll get a lot out of this week, and then we've got a 3-game season after this. So in one sense, this is a catch your breath. In another sense, this is preseason for a 3-game season that we're going to try to find some wins in, and that's what we're here to do.
But just as importantly for this, especially for this team, it seems like the guys who have been nicked, dinged, and maybe out some, it's a week where you can get them off their feet if they're a little dinged. If they're not healthy, hopefully another week to get healthy, and then also a little bit more ramp-up time for the guys who are coming back.
Yeah, for sure. There's some guys that have been battling through and playing with some bumps and bruises that we're going to protect this week. The really high rep guys, specifically on defense, they may not take a step all week. We just want them to heal, rest, recover, eat, get their bodies right, because that 3-game stretch is going to be grueling. And all 3 will be tough games, and we'll need them at full capacity for those 3. So sometimes the best thing to do there in the open date is really push hard and grind some guys and find ways to get them better. And some guys you need to take a step back. So you got to kind of evaluate your roster. Everybody's in a different spot this time of season, and there's some guys we need to really push and some guys we need to protect, and we'll have a good balance of both this week.
Well, the evaluation process has kind of kicked into full gear, especially since you hit the 8-game mark. The 9th game this past Saturday opens up almost feels like probably a new part of your roster.
Yeah, it really does. One of the best rules that the NCAA's done, and they haven't done many that are good, is the opportunity to allow kids to play 4 games and still keep their red shirt. And last week was that 4-game left mark. There were a few guys that had played 1, 2, and 3 games that were still kind of counting their reps or game participation, see where they are. But there's a pile of guys on the roster who had no snaps so far this year. So we're going to throw them in there and let them see what they can do. And, we did that last week against Lamar, and when they went in, they performed pretty well. They held a pretty good standard, and then sometimes they perform better than the guy in front of them who's been playing all year. So allows you to learn a lot about yourself and see a little bit of what the future might hold, and give us the best chance to win games right now while not hurting a kid's career.
You touched on it. I think we talked about it maybe post-game. The second drive of the game was basically a line change, to use a hockey term, of freshmen coming in, and suddenly there's maybe your most impressive in terms of length, in terms of converting third downs, maybe your most impressive offensive drive of the season, even if it didn't end in points.
Yeah, it was. I think that drive we put in 6 true freshmen, and with them was a couple of redshirt freshmen. So there was times in that drive and throughout the game, we were counting 7, 8, freshmen or redshirt freshmen in the game at a time. Maybe even hit 9 once or twice. But that second drive we did go 6 true freshmen. They went 14 plays, 66 yards, and converted 3 third downs, which was pretty impressive, and maybe as impressive a drive as we've had all year. Unfortunately, we didn't end up in points. We got all the way down to the 6-yard line and had a sack, then missed the field goal. That's what you can't do, and that's part of that youthful learning curve. You got to learn how to finish a drive, and it would have been really nice to make that field goal. Not mad at Reed; he's got to make them. He knows what his job is. But if you go down the field and you go up 3-0 right off the bat with a bunch of true freshmen, that's pretty encouraging. So you can't lose sight of the fact that they did get down there and put it together, and they did it 2 or 3 times throughout the game. So real proud of what those guys did.
Long drive there, didn't come up with points, but at the end of the half, a chance to go down and get points. You did convert. You had some big plays in that drive. Kind of maybe the polar opposite, where the other was long, sustained. Some big chunk plays that got you down and capped it was Zay Davis's touchdown run. Yeah,
I think that drive was 6 plays, 80 yards. Pretty impressive 2-minute drill that Q Quaterius put together for us and took us down the field to get the score. And great job with our protection on that drive. Our receivers did a great job of being where they're supposed to be, catching the ball, getting out of bounds. There was one play where Q's helmet came off. Kareem came in for one play, ran a quarterback draw, and did everything he could to fight to get out of bounds to keep the clock protected for us. So it was nice to see on that drive a lot of things that we spent a lot of time in situational football working on pay off for them and put some points on the board.
And again, you challenged multiple areas of this team after the Nichols game, and it seemed like the ones you pointed out did step forward and take what you said to heart, and maybe in a sense were challenged and answered that challenge.
Yeah, we've it's no secret we've struggled with penetration and movement and things like that up front this year. And that's a result of offensive line play and running back play, and that's something that we really challenged. And against Lamar, I think we had one negative run and one sack, which is not good. You don't want any, but one of each is by far better than we've done all year. Our missed assignments were down during the game. Our time of possession was as high as it's been all year. And there were some things that we did in that game offensively as good as we've done all year that we need to build on. What we've got to do better is we've got to be better in the red zone. We were 2 for 5 in the red zone, and those are killers. We get down there, our margin is so thin, we can't afford to get down there without points. And just 3 missed scoring opportunities. Even if it's field goals, that's 9 points off the board that you've got to be able to capitalize on and get. So showed some drastic improvement, but we've got miles and miles to go to get where we want to go.
And at that point, when you do make those, you say, okay, if you lose 42-10, you add 9 points. But at that point, it's the timing of when you miss those too, in terms of flipping momentum, in terms of if you do, you feel maybe going into halftime, completely different game.
Well, you do, and if you convert those, that's 1 or 2 more plays that you might have run down there to get the score, and that's more time on the clock, and that's tougher drives for the defense to have to come back and defend the other way. I think in the Lamar game, we only defended 59 plays as a defense. That's the lowest all year. The reason that's the lowest is because our offense was on the field more, and allowing our defense to rest and go in there and play a little harder. Several of their points came off short fields. That I'll take credit for some of those. We went for a 4th and an inch that we didn't get in negative territory, and usually that's not something you do, but at this point in the season, why not? So Lamar had a short field. We tried the onside kick coming out of the half, which we really thought was there. We didn't execute it well. Gave Lamar a short field, and then we had an interception that gave him a short field. So that's 3 short fields, that gives them easy scores where, if you play a little bit better field position, a little smarter with those things, they have to drive the field, and maybe that 42 is a little bit lower. And then the other end, as you mentioned, maybe our number is a little bit higher, and then that game can shorten and get a lot closer in a hurry with a few adjustments.
Anything in particular that the lifetime football coach in you is looking forward to this Saturday, since you're not going to have to be here, you're not going to have to be in a hotel, you're going to get to be regular football citizen Blaine McCorkle.
Yeah, those days are always a little bit weird when they come around. You feel a little awkward, you feel a little out of place. But I'm sure I'll have 2 or 3 screens going, watching some games, and definitely be tracking all the Southland games. For us, it's easy to pull up the SEC game of the week or whatever, but anybody in our position, you watch your competition because you want to kind of see what's going on next, and that's who you track and follow. So we'll be watching a lot of football at the McCorkle house, that's for sure.
Coach, as always, appreciate your time.
Thank you.